Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As I said in the live the other day, I was going to make this video and kind of talk about, a lot of people have been asking me how much Drift Week costs and how you go about going to it. So I thought I'd just quickly do a video explaining as much as I can about what happens and how you go about entering Drift Week and what you've got to look forward to and what you've got to be prepared for. So first of all, I'm going to backtrack to how it all started. I was planning on going for a trip to Australia when Chris Radnick, Rice and Miata, those guys were over and they were staying at Luke's, and there was a competition coming up, and I was like, oh sweet, I've got a free weekend, I'll shoot over to Australia. Being that I was like, oh yeah sweet, we're in New Zealand, it's close. I thought, maybe it'll be cheap, but I was wrong. It was like $2,300 to fly to Australia, so I was like, well okay, that's quite expensive. Then the next day it ended up being, Clutch Kickers actually shared their poster of round 4, and I was like, okay, so well, how much is it to fly into Tampa? And it was only like 2.6, and I was like, well, I'd rather go to America, spending that money and go hang out over there. So I started to jack up things over there. I was sorting out accommodation stuff. Josiah from FDF was going to put me up at their Airbnb, and that was what we were going to do. I had been talking to the Clutch Kickers about a media pass and all of that, and then I messaged Jimmy, Jimmy Oakes, and I said, oh hey bro, I'm looking at coming over to America. Are you going to be around, or where are you going to be at this time? And then he replied saying that Drift Week was on somewhere around that time. So I was like, oh shit, here we go. Okay, so he said he didn't know when the dates were because Jimmy's a bit slack like that. And so I messaged Aaron Losey from Lone Star Drift, and I thought, well okay, and I was like, hey man, if any chance you actually see this message, what's involved, when is Drift Week and what's involved in coming? And he replied straight away and was like, yeah man, Drift Week to this date, blah blah blah, here's a application form, and yeah, fill that out, and I'll give you a call when I can. So yeah, I looked at the information, I looked at the info pack and stuff like that, and the entry prices and stuff like that, whatever. And then he ended up giving me a call, and we talked for about an hour and a half. He said that he was watching my videos and stuff, because you have to apply with some footage of you driving and things like that. So we did that. He had a look through my footage and stuff, and said, okay, sweet man, you can drive. It's $3,000 US to enter. So I was like, okay, cool, sweet as. And he said, once you've paid that, then you're locked in, and blah blah blah. So I was like, okay. And then I said, well, how do we go about getting a car? And he said, well, he was going to look at hiring out a few cars to people. So he was going to buy a few and then, have them for rent. So we were like, okay, cool, sweet, blah, blah, blah. And he jacked that up and managed to get us a 350Z. And then from there, so it was just like, okay, we're going to commit to this. But sorry, before I actually carry on with that, I want to make a big shout out to Matt Kwok, a very good friend of mine. He was he actually came up with the idea of doing this because he saw the video from Lone Star Drift, Aaron Losey interviewing Dave Egan from Drift Games on their way to the airport after the LZ Invitational in Ireland. So Mac said, you need to watch this video and you need to go and make this happen. So yeah, he was all jacked up, we were ready to go. We were sorting out finances and figuring out how we're going to make it happen. And then unfortunately Mac wasn't actually able to come with probably 5 or 6 weeks to go. He wasn't able to come, so that was the story with that. So I was like, okay sweet, who can I get to come with me? I asked a few people, I asked around, I thought to myself, okay, who is self-employed for one, so they can get the time off, who has the finances behind them to make it happen, and then also who won't, I fanboy hard out, but who won't fanboy out hard and won't make themselves look like a dick, kind of thing, for lack of a better term, who also is mechanically minded, because I am obviously not. So I needed someone that was able to kind of be mechanically minded for the trip, and things like that, and also who understood how YouTube works and how the reason I'm going, and all of these sort of things. So and yeah, I went through my phone. I asked a couple of people. I asked Christo from Phasey Luck, really good friend of ours, and he was obviously our videographer for the D1NZ season, and he also gave me some camera equipment to take with me. But yeah, he couldn't come, so that was a shame. I asked a bro Jamie. He was pretty keen, and then I just went scrolling through my phone and thought, okay, and obviously like Ra and Nick couldn't come and stuff like that. So I was like, well, okay. Went through my phone and got to see, and I was like, oh, Calvin, Calvin Clark, and I was like, oh yeah, Cal's a good dude. He knows things. He knows how YouTube works. He's interested in how the videos work and what's needed and whatnot, blah blah blah. And so we kind of came up. I gave him a call and I said, hey man, I've got 2 questions. Are you vaccinated? And do you want to go to America? And he was like, holy shit. And he kind of ummed and ahed for a little bit. Then he said, bro, I got to call you back. Like, it's obviously a big ask. And this was given we had like 5 or 6 weeks to go. So we took him about an hour or so, half an hour or so, and he gave me a call back. He said, bro, I'm in. Let's do this. So yeah, we jacked it all up. He came over to my place, came over to Rotorua, and my girlfriend Stephanie helped us out and just booked everything for us, because we're so useless at that. She made sure we were covered and had everything sorted that we needed, and yeah, kind of that's how we went. But yeah, going back to kind of where like the costings and stuff. So obviously it started off with an entry fee, and our dollar, the New Zealand dollar, is so terrible right now. It was very expensive, but it is what it is. So we ended up, it cost us about $5,200 New Zealand for the entry fee. And then the way Drift Week works, they send you an itinerary and how everything works and what days you're doing things and all of this. And part of the event is you can jump on the Careless food program. So what Careless does as a brand, they come along and they cater the event. They do breakfast and lunch. Sometimes a couple of nights they did dinners, but yeah, breakfast and lunch is the main ones. And so that was $700 US, I think, per person, or something similar to that. So it worked out to be like 1,500 New Zealand dollars for 2 of us for the food program over the week, which was only while we were at the track. So every second day where we were, not at a racetrack, we were having to feed ourselves. But yeah, so Careless had that package, which was good for us purely because we didn't have to carry food around. We didn't have to like really feed ourselves. It was just simply, you'd roll up to the Careless booth and they would have breakfast there, breakfast burritos or whatever it was. They have nachos for lunch or dinner or whatever, burgers and heaps of things. Every day was different and it was beautiful. It was good food and it just, made it easier for us, So yeah, the Careless program was really good. And then the next biggest thing, obviously, with drifting is the tyres. And Drift Week as a whole is sponsored by Valino Tyres, and they Valino USA, and they have a program where you can prepay and pre-order tyres, and they bring them to each track, and in that price of the tyres, you will get fitting and disposal of your dead tyres. So that was kind of good for us because obviously we didn't have a way of carrying them around or getting rid of the dead tyres or changing them. So it was like, sweet, let's just do that. And we were running a 265 semi-slick 18, and that was, I believe they were about $116 US each. So it was like $2,800. We got 20 tyres. And that worked out to be around $4,700, I think, New Zealand. So, say $5,000 for tyres, and then when we were there, we bought 4 more because the car came on 4 brand new tyres. So we had to replace it when we gave the car back. So that was another another 4 tyres. So yeah, I'd say everyone else went through around 28 tyres with their Z's. So I would say you'd need around a good $5.5 New Zealand dollars for tyres. So, you know, that's kind of where that's at. And then obviously flights to get there. Originally I was looking at Air New Zealand, and it was like $2,800 to get to Dallas Fort Worth, where we needed to get to. But that was, on Air New Zealand. And then Steph came up, she was like, nah, I'm sure it's cheaper. There's a deal going with American Airlines. So we went on to Webjet, and just as we went on there, they had just released this direct flight from Auckland to Dallas Fort Worth, and it was only $1,400 return each. So, but the problem was we ended up having, we waited a day or something happened, and when we went to book the flights, the night that Calvin came over, they were actually gone up to $1,800. So that was still cheap. It was a lot cheaper. It was $1,000 cheaper than in New Zealand. So that was a good deal, we thought. So we got our flights, and then we had to get insurance and travel insurance and all of that. So it worked out that the flights for two of us return was $4,500 New Zealand, which was travel insurance and all of that. So yeah, that's another, you know, quite a big cost, but it just is what it is kind of thing, you know. And that was kind of all we had to prepay for, and then the rest was, right, we had to get cash each. So we, I took, I think $3,500 American. So it worked out to be like, I took like $6,000 or something, $6,000 New Zealand dollars to have cash over there. Cal took about, I think, $2,500 to $3,000 American. So that's another, you know, $4,500 or so New Zealand. And then obviously when you get there, it's just all these things, like, you know, so there's, I don't know, off the top of my head, I would say there's around, you know, probably $20,000 or whatever. But then, also hiring the car off Losi. So the deal was that the car would be ready to go. And then once we leave his workshop with the car, it's on us to look after the car, maintain the car, and make sure it keeps going. So there was different kind of options we could have got. We could have got the car for cheaper, but then we would have had to do all the work ourselves. And it turned out our car needed a new clutch and flywheel, crank sensor, heaps of little things that needed to be done. So I said, nah, what we want to do is turn up, have the car ready to go, and you know, just jump in and drive. So Losi sorted that out, and Mark Williams, a legend, his mechanic, sorted everything out for us. And we turned up. All we did to do was a bit of a bolt check and stuff like that. Hiring the car ended up being $6,900 American. So that came to $12,500 New Zealand dollars to rent the car for the couple of weeks. So that's a big cost, obviously, you know. So there goes, you know, a good whack of our money there. And then we, yeah, so that was all good. Once we got there, but then like it's all these little things, you know. Once we got there, that $100 here, $100 there, kind of, you know, eats into your funds. So once we got there, we arrived, and as you guys would have seen in the videos, you know, we got a taxi to Aaron's because we had no phones that worked. So we got a taxi to Aaron's shop because we had the address, and that was like a $60 taxi ride. So that's like $100 New Zealand, and just every little thing costs, you know, $100 here and there. So. Yeah, but then we ended up getting a motel for the night, and that was like $250 American. So it's like, it nearly doubles. I think it was like 56 cents to our dollar. So, you know, it was a bit hard on the wallet, but it was an amazing time, you know. And we just kind of were happy to pay just to kind of get ourselves sorted. We got a motel, and so we could chill out and find our feet, I guess, you know. But yeah. Other costs that came into it was, you know, I blew an axle. That was $150 American. What else? We damaged a few other things when we had to take the car back. We worked out with Mark and Aaron $450 to give back to put the car back to how it was. I broke a side skirt. We needed a bit of fiberglass work and stuff, so we got a fiberglass repair kit. And then just Mark's labour. Obviously, you know, we needed tools when we got there, so we went to Harbour Freight. We spent $200 US on tools, just a very basic toolkit. You guys would have seen that. And and then obviously it was $100 for a jack, just essential things you need. And then obviously with our Airbnb group, huge thanks to Tiana Fink and Luke for having us and keeping us, putting us up and kind of including us in their Airbnb group, which made it a lot easier. Obviously knowing them was a lot of help, and then we obviously got to meet a lot of people along the way. But yeah, so our Airbnbs ended up being like just under $700 each, US dollars, to stay for the 16 days or whatever it was. So I found that was quite cheap, which works out to be like 1,400 New Zealand dollars, give or take $1,300 New Zealand. So, but yeah, that was 16 days accommodation. It was awesome, and it was perfect to stay with a whole group of them and in some nice places, and hang out with all these guys that you just don't kind of get to meet, and everyone just became boys. But I don't think off the top of my head there's too many other costs that came into it. It was just dinners at night, going out for dinner. Then you have to tip over there, like we were very rookie at all of that. So, our meal would come to say $32, but because we didn't really want coins and stuff, we'd just give them $40, and then that was a go. Whether we were tipping them too much or not enough, who knows. But the food over there was quite expensive, I felt, in the way of, if you were to convert it back to our dollar, because you'd buy a steak say $30 over there, and then you'd have to tip and whatnot, so it was like $35. But then if you convert that into our money, that's like $70 or like $65. So food was quite expensive, but it is what it is, and it's all good. We had a good time. Other than that, I don't think there was too many other costings that we had to put up with. It was just simply, the prepaying for everything was like the car, the accommodation, the flights, the entry fee, and all of those sorts of things. So if you do want to do it, please flick me a message. I'm more than happy to give you as much information as I can. It's not really an invite only kind of thing, but you do have to prove that you can drive and you can actually make it happen. So they can't be having too many like beginner drivers driving at it and stuff like that. So don't be disheartened if he says no. There's like over 150 people that try to go on it every year, but Aaron does put foreigners, I guess, first a little bit, and give us a good hand, and makes it a bit easier for us. And it's a lot of money, but it's the most amazing experience you ever have. So if you do wish to do it, and you have any questions or whatever, please flick me a message on Instagram or whatever. I am keen to help whoever wants to get to America and do that. It was an amazing time, getting to hang out with Jimmy, Dave Egan, all the boys from Drift Games. Like hanging out with Ruddy, like he stayed with us, we were with him every day kind of thing, and Calvin, helping him out a lot, and it's just grown so many relationships, hanging out with Rome Charpentier, Ben Hobson, all these guys, Fielding Shredder, David Mesker, like all these people that I've looked up to for years, and seen them on Adam LZ's channel, or seen Ruddy on his channel, and Jimmy and stuff like that. It was just unreal to hang out with those kind of guys, and meeting James Dean and stuff like that. But because we were all there for the same purpose, for the same reason, everyone was just there to have a good time. Like we'd go out for lunch and whatever, and you're just sitting next to people that like rubbing shoulders with some of the best, and it's like surreal. It was very, the first couple of days were very overwhelming, I think. I wasn't struggling with it, I was really enjoying it, but it was a lot to take in and kind of understand and absorb, I guess. But now, like, I can happily call so many of those guys my friends now. We talk daily on Instagram and stuff, and I've met some amazing people, and hopefully future sponsors, and just a lot of people that want to be part of the channel, my driving, and whatever I'm up to. I've got so many offers to go back to the States to either drive or hang out, or like places to stay, people that want to get cars for me so I can go drive. You know, it's just opened up so many doors, and it's just unreal. And I can't thank everyone that has been part of this Drift Week experience enough. You know, like massive thanks to my girlfriend Steph for just everything, and just giving me the push, I guess, in the right direction to make it happen. You know, she said, yeah, don't worry about it. You know, you have to go make it happen, because if I didn't go, I would have regretted it, and I can't go to Drift Week 7, and then we don't know when Drift Week 8 is. So I do want to get back to the States and, you know, go and do Drift Week 8 when that does happen. And I would be keen to, if anyone else from New Zealand wishes to go to that, you know, I'm keen to, you know, we can jack it up. You build an Airbnb group, you know, just work together, I guess, and you know, convoy around. You get a car each and stuff like that. Like I would, and also in saying that, I would also happily go and not drive, or like not have a car. Like, you know, I got to drive a few different cars thanks to Kenny, Max, Jimmy, you know, but the drifting side of Drift Week was very, I would say it's about 20%. You know, it's the street driving and the missions, and, you know, we did 2,200 and something miles, so equivalent to like 3,500 kilometers, I think. So we did a fair whack of driving in a Z with bucket seat and things like that. But it's just such an experience, you know. Like me and Cal have been talking, and it's just like it's an amazing experience. Half the fun, or half the challenge, I guess, is keeping the car together, keeping it running, keeping it going, and making sure you get to the next track. And just, yeah, the people, everyone's out there helping each other. It's amazing. I could go on all day saying how awesome it was and how thankful I am for everyone that's been a part of it. I know a lot of people have really enjoyed the coverage and stuff. I was doing daily uploads, and it was ruining me, but it has been worth it. You know, the channel has been growing a bit lately. So welcome to all the Americans that have jumped on, and really appreciate everyone's support. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. But yeah, we're back here in New Zealand now, and we are going pretty much straight into work with getting my S13 ready for D1NZ coming up. We've got 5 weeks to build the car, so it's going to be very interesting. My girlfriend is currently on her way to Palmerston North to Chickens at EFI and Turbo. He has had my engine while I've been away, and he has put new bearings in it and just checked it over. Everything seems absolutely perfect, so yeah, can't wait to get that back. And then Andy Donahue has got my car doing the rear end on it. Hopefully he will be finished with that in the next couple of days, and we can get the car back here and start assembling it. Marshall's got a lot of body panels to paint. We've got AWS Graphics to do our graphics, and then obviously Red Star Signs will be applying it when we get there. Like it's crazy, because obviously the holidays are coming up, and you know, we can't really expect everyone to work during their holidays. So we've got a big final push to go. Like, we're trying to sort out sponsors still, because I was so focused on America and stuff, I was pretty slack, and I haven't really organised our sponsors and stuff. So if anyone is honestly actually interested in jumping on board the 7.2 Motorsport program, flick me a message on Instagram or Facebook, however, and I'm happy to talk, send you guys our proposal. It's going to be a good season, I think, and Ra's car's pretty much ready to go, and my car's nowhere near. So I think the village will be back into it, and the village will build my car again, get all the boys around, and we'll smash it out. Again, I just can't thank everyone enough for their support while I was in the States. Everyone holding it down back home. My girlfriend, my mum and stepdad, sorting out at home and whatnot. And just everyone that has supported it, like that has been messaging me every time I'm over there, watching my Snapchat stories and stuff like that. It's been unreal. So massive thanks to Jimmy Oakes for being so welcoming, I guess. He was amazing. He made my trip just that much better. He on the first day, I shook Dave Egan's hand, I shook Josh's hand, all the guys from Drift Games, and then Jimmy was at the back, and I went to shake his hand, and he just put his arms out, gave me a big hug, and said, he's stoked that I was there, and that meant a lot to me. And then from then on, we just hung out every day pretty much, and really got to, you just kind of you look up to those guys, but they were just there for the same reason. They're there to have a good time, and yeah, everyone's really good friends now. Yeah, can't thank Aaron Losey enough for everything that he does for the Drift Week guys and the effort that everyone puts in. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience. So yeah, I'll stop talking now, guys. I hope it has given you a bit of insight on what's involved with Drift Week and how it all works. This one was a lot shorter in the way of the amount of travel that we had to do. So I think there's the least amount of miles covered. So yeah, the next one I believe will be a lot longer stretch between tracks. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. But we'll see what happens with the relationships that we're building from this, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, also just a quick shout out before Christmas. We have just released our 7.2 Motorsport merch. It is live now for a pre-order only. So please make sure you head to the 7.2 Motorsport Facebook page and flick us a message if you wish to order anything. It's amazing design, thanks to AWS Graphics and our local screen printer here, Stitch and Print Rotorua. They are printing that all off for us, and we hope to get it out before Christmas. The orders will close on the 4th of December, so please yeah, get in quick so we can get them out before Christmas. And then yeah, you guys can have your gears over summer, and then you guys can be wearing it at the first round of D1NZ. So yeah, I really look forward to the future now. Yeah, I guess the future's bright. I've got to go back to work on Monday. That's going to hurt, but hey, you got to pay to play. So yeah, we'll get back out there, and hopefully yeah, we can smash out my car and get it all back together, and make the season happen. So yeah. Thanks heaps, guys. I really do appreciate everyone's support. Please make sure you do drop us a comment if you have any questions. Make sure you guys like this video, and yeah, if you guys are new or you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and we've got some amazing things coming in the pipeline, and yeah, it's going to be good. So yeah, thanks heaps, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.